Hello and welcome to this episode of SPSS one-on-one series with Warrior Analytics. Today we practically check for interaction. In the previous episodes, we saw how to theoretically form those interaction terms. So now we are going to create them in SPSS, run them to see which ones are statistically significant and how to drop some while retaining others. Let's get started. This is part of a series of videos about linear regression. So if you've not watched our first 3 parts of linear regression, I strongly recommend that you watch them. The first one giving an overview. Secondly, it was about checking for assumption. The third was about how to select which variables you are going to analyze in your regression model. And then now we are looking at how to check for interaction. So in our last episode, we saw how to theoretically form interaction terms and how many interaction terms can you form based on the type of research question you're asking yourself. So we are assuming that we do not have a main exposure, and so we are forming interaction terms for all the variables that are in our data set, all the 7 basic independent variables. So we are going to form a total of 21 interaction terms. Just to recap, we said if we have this as the main variable, we have to create an interaction term with this. We also create with the other variable with the rest of the variables. And we do that for when it comes to this variable, we create it with this one below to have this, we have this one and that one. So a total of 21 variables. So we are going to create these interaction terms using our data set that we've been working on. Okay, this is our data. So we are going to create 21 interaction terms as new variables. So let us start with the beginning salary versus education. To create an interaction term, it is about creating product terms. So simply go to transform and then go to compute variable. Our target variable, we are going to call it maybe sal educ. Okay, sal ed. Then it is a product of beginning salary here times education level. So we are creating now what we create here. I click OK. When you check our data, we now have a new variable created, which is a product of beginning salary and education level. So we do that for the rest of the interaction terms that we are going to create. I've already created a syntax here, so I'm just going to copy it and actually run it. I'll run this selection so that we create all these interaction terms. This one I'd already created this. We have this, we have this. So all the interaction terms have been created. When we check on our variables, you can see that all our variables have been created. We have beginning salary education, beginning salary job, beginning salary previous experience, up to the very last one, gender and job category. Okay. When we check on our table here, this is the last interaction term between gender and job category. So once we have all our interaction terms, the next thing to do is checking whether these interaction terms are statistically significant. So we are going to run our linear regression model, but with the option of backward, where we start with all the variables entered into the model and we tell SPSS to start removing the least significant variables one at a time until it only remains with those that are statistically significant. To check which interaction terms are significant, we simply go to Analyze, go to our regression, then linear regression. Let me just reset this. We are going to have our current salary here as our outcome. Then we are going to push in all the independent variables. I can just click on the first variable. I hold down the shift button, click on the last variable, select all, then push them in the independent box. And then under method here, we are going to select the backward method, which starts with all the variables into the model and starts removing the ones that are least significant as it builds other models. Otherwise, the forward would start with nothing and builds as it goes. So we are going to use the backward, and then we click OK. From this, you will see that it is a regression output showing the variables entered or removed. We started with all the variables, but you can see we've gone up to model number 18 when it has removed this minority classification. It shows you how the error value keeps changing. We are not interested in this one now. What we want to see is the very last model, model number 18. It shows you that this is the last model that has run, and you see that all the p-values are statistically significant. We've only remained with statistically significant variables. Those that have not been significant were removed. There is a table here for excluded variables. When you check it and you go to the last model that have been run, they removed all these variables to remain with the variables that we have that are statistically significant. What we are seeing here is that on our 18th model, we have the following variables remaining in the model. We have job time, previous experience, we have gender, and we have job category. Okay? These variables, minority, education, and cell begin, these have been dropped. So when you look at our output, you will notice that these three variables, job time, this one, previous experience, this one, gender, this, and employment category, this one, they have been retained in our model, whereas beginning salary, education, and minority have been dropped. So we now move to those are the basic variables. They have been maintained, 4 of them. When you look at the higher order terms, we've remained with this interaction between beginning salary and previous experience. We have beginning salary and minority classification. We have these, and these other ones are on education. From this, what I want you to see is that we have some basic variables that have been removed, okay, but their interaction terms are remaining in the model. When you look at these, all those in yellow, they have remained in our model, but their basic terms are not in the model. So you can never have a higher order term remaining in your model when its basic variable has been dropped. What you do, you bring back all the basic terms that have been dropped, and you see whether their interaction terms will remain significant. So we shall come back to our model. So in this model, which we get from analyze, regression, linear regression. So in this model, we are going to ensure that we put all the interaction terms, these variables that are in this model, and we bring back the basic variables that were dropped. So I'm going to, let me first remove all the interaction terms. Okay, I move them out, and I then start bringing the ones that remained. Sal job T, this one is there. We have sal pre, this. We have sal min, that. We have edu job T. We have edu pre, and then we have edu min, then min gen, this one here. But remember, we said we are bringing back this basic variable because of these interaction terms. We are bringing back education because of these. We are bringing back minority because of this variable. Literally, all the basic variables are coming back. Okay, so we are going to bring back the variables that were dropped. Beginning salaries here, education level, and minority classification. We change the method to just enter and then click OK. We want to see our variables. Now this is our model. You can see that in this model, okay, so you can see that in this model, these interaction terms are no longer significant. So we are going to drop them. In the presence of their basic variables, the interaction terms are no longer significant. Okay? When you go to the other three interaction terms, for them they remain significant in the presence of their basic variables. So they will be maintained in the model. But we also have these variables that are not significant, the basic variables, but because we have, for example, months since hire, that's the job time, this one is going to keep this variable into the model because you can't have a higher order term when you don't have a basic variable. If for an interaction term is significant, it is a must you keep that basic variable into the model. Beginning salary is going to remain because of these three. They are going to keep this variable into this model. Then when you look at minority classification, is remaining because of this, because of this interaction term. So they will remain in the model even when they are non-significant. After that, we also have a variable called education level. Remember, it had been previously dropped because it is non-significant. We brought it back because it had an interaction term which is significant. But when we tested it, the interaction term together with education level, interaction term was non-significant. So we are going to drop it, meaning we are also dropping education level. So meaning in our model, if I go to analyze, regression, then linear, in this model, we are dropping education level, we are dropping it. So we are removing education, dropped. We are removing these other interaction terms that are non-significant. We have edu job T. We have edu pre. We have edu min. Yeah. So those are the variables we are removing. We maintain the method as enter. We click OK. So this will be our model that one, we've checked for interaction and we've found that actually there is interaction between beginning salary with these three variables, job time, previous experience, and then minority classification. But there's also an interaction term between minority classification and gender. So these interaction terms are going to stay in our model in our subsequent analysis. Remember, we are doing a linear regression analysis. So in that way, we are on our path to build a model. We started with checking for assumptions, we build a model, we do a final model check. So previously we saw how to select variables, we've checked for interaction. So we are going to use this model that we've gotten here. This is the model we are going to use to check for confounding. And once we check for confounding, that's the last step towards having a final model. So next, we are going to see how do you check for existence of confounding variables within your model and how to report your final model of linear regression. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss out any of our episodes. See you in the next video.